Everyone. Welcome everyone. Here we are, Peacemakers, coming at you live. And my name is Mikaela Cuellar, and this is my husband.
Cuellar.
And this is Mamacita. So today my husband and I decided to do something different and bring Peacemakers to you guys, since everyone doesn't know what we've been up to and what it really is all about. So Gonzalo, you want to share what's Peacemakers?
To me, what Peacemakers is, it's fellowship of Christians, and we get together and talk about real life issues and how we deal with them and maybe how we react. Because it seems like when people are genuinely real with each other, it can open up the space for the other people listening and for them to feel comfortable to open up about what they've been dealing with and how they've been responding to it.
So that's pretty much what it really is Peacemaker is non-denominational, and everything is openly shared voluntarily with freedom and ease. The purpose for the group is to offer positive and inspirational support and fellowship to one another, while gaining a more intimate relationship with the divine. We also we're seeking and spreading out love, peace, hope, and joy. And the teachers and leaders are us, and we see each other all equal. And so we want to welcome everyone and just kind of share with you what we're learning as Christians. People have this idea what a Christian should be. Their ideal is that they're perfect in their ways, which is completely the opposite. We make mistakes. We're like everybody else, and we just have a greater love, and we want to share this love with everyone else. And so today we want to share about what we heard today, our message. So what was that, Gonzalo, you heard?
What it was is when Israel had a bad king, and they ended up splitting into two. Half of Israel seceded from the other half because of the bad king, and then that half, which I believe it was Judah, it became Judah, they ended up having a bad king as well. And then here comes Jezebel, worshiping Mickey Mouse and whoever else. And the king was cool with that, and so the people started doing that. And, the Lord wasn't happy.
So where you can find this is actually, it's Kings 1, 18, verse 21. So it says, "And Elijah came near to all the people and said, 'How long will you go limping between two different opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him.' And the people did not answer him a word." So what did you get that to mean, Gonzalo? What did that mean to you? Or what did the pastor
about following Baal?
Yeah.
The Lord.
And the Lord.
The Lord.
What is that?
Basically, it's what I got out of it is just kind of like drawing a line in the sand, you know what I mean? Saying that if you're, so it's about having, like, I guess, I don't want to say quote unquote right, but following the divine. And it's basically like, it's following like someone who's, I don't know if it was a man or if it was a statue or...
It was idols. I think it was
idol.
like...
Okay, so idol, yeah.
Yeah, because I believe that these leaders, basically it was two leaders that divided Israel. And they were bad kings, and they idolized statues and other things, and they lost the commandment of the Lord, which is there is only one God. And so basically Elijah came into the picture and was given something to do for the Lord and basically challenge these other leaders and say, okay, if this is really your God, then your God is going to answer you. So Elijah basically gave a test and had all these leaders and these all these other followers come to him to the mountain called Mountain Carmel, was it?
I don't know, but he had there was like 100 people, I believe, and it was split 50 and 50, or it was 90 and it was split 45-45, and they was hiding out in the mountains because there was a drought. And so part of the test was okay, if you're Larf is God, then prance around this fire pit and then have him make it rain, and then.
And how long did they do that?
They started in the morning and they did it till noon, and then the other group was making fun of them, and then the followers of the Lord, and then they went from noon on until almost nighttime, I believe, and it was Elijah, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it. Well, it wasn't a group. It was Elijah kind of mocked them. Okay. Yeah, he mentioned something like that. Elijah kind of mocked them, saying, "Okay, well, where's your God that you claim, or that." Why isn't he hearing you? Maybe he's asleep. Maybe he's, I don't know exactly where that is, but it is in Kings 1, chapter 18, if you want to go ahead and look into that. But so basically to, make a long story short is that there was no other God that came through but the Lord. And so once these followers had saw that, they bowed down and became believers again of the Lord, because he showed that he is only God. And so I don't know. For me, what I take it, the message for me today was that, we all have different beliefs. We all have different ways. And, and I think that there's such a lostness in the world for us all that we're just so divided. We're like, we can't even come together and just have real talk with one another and to be able to share authentically with one another. And so this group, or this PeaceMakers, is really just that. It's to be able to give the opportunity to share with one another, and be of support, as brothers and sisters. And so I don't know, what was it that
So in the story, what ended up happening was Elijah called unto the Lord, and on the fire pit area, they basically the Lord had him have the other people pour like buckets and buckets of water on top of the firewood and everything, and on top of the broken bowl. And not only once, not only twice, but 3 times had him do that. And then
why do you look like you did a West Side?
and then Elijah did like a 30-second prayer, and then fire came from the heavens and started the fire. And then everyone who doubted the Lord fell to their face.
Mm-hmm.
And
the thing that the pastor
started praising him.
Yeah, the pastor made a good point. How because there was one that was a follower of the Lord, and he, on one of the evil kings, remember, and he was hiding the prophets, like 50 of them, in caves.
Yeah, two groups of 50. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when Elijah hid, he came across them because they went searching and looking for Elijah, because Elijah was the one that the Lord was going to use and say when it was going to rain in Israel. So when one of those followers of the kings came across Elijah, Elijah told him to go tell his king that he was coming. And he started freaking out because he's like, no, you're going to disappear on us, and my king is going to kill me if you don't come now. So so what basically, like I said, the Lord came through, and it was a huge test where the Lord came through and showed who really is God. And so what was interesting about that is that the pastor made a good point about how well, we have this fear. We have this fear of when we carry faith, and sometimes we're in uncomfortable positions, and we don't know how to handle that. And sometimes we can fall into doubt or into fear, those things that we can relate to these stories that we deal with in the world today. So, I thought that was, that really was a great message,
Oh yeah.
that I could relate to with him about, like I said, people have this idea of what Christians should look like, and actually we're not perfect.
Yeah, you don't have to be perfect.
Exactly. And, I mean, everybody has a story or, things that they go through.
Yeah, stuff happens to everyone.
So,
good stuff, bad stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody has all that, no matter who you are, where you came from. There's always.
Yeah. So, so what else did we wanted to share? So what's the what's the devotional? You want to read it, or you want me to read it?
What's the date today?
It's the 19th.
19th.
Yep.
All right. This is the devotional from Jesus Calling. By the way, in case y'all want to go get it, I wrote it myself. Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah. All right. So here goes. November 19th. We got, it says, leave outcomes up to me. Follow me wherever I lead without worrying about how it will all turn out. Think of your life as an adventure with me as your guide and companion.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Live in the now. Live in the now. There's more, but what I get out of that, live in the now, it reminds me of like Wayne's World. Live in the now, Garth. We got a show, and I'm about to get my $5,000 guitar. Sorry for digressing. Okay. Live in the now, concentrating on staying in step with me. When our path leads to a cliff, be willing to climb it with my help. When we come to a resting place, take time to be refreshed in my presence. Enjoy the rhythm of life lived close to me. I like that. Yeah. Enjoy the rhythm of life live close to me. You already know the ultimate destination of your journey, your entrance into heaven. So, keep your focus on the path just before you. Keep your focus on the path just before you. Leaving outcomes up to me. And the verses are John 10:14, Psalms 27:13 through 14, and Exodus 15:13. So would you like to read one of those?
Yeah. We said John.
John 10, verse 4.
Was that John? Okay, John. Verse 4.
John 10, verse 4.
You know what? I think we should share a little bit of our testimony, or how did God become a part of our lives. I think it'd be important to share with, right now, this is something we've never done before. I just told, Gonzalo, you know what? I'm not waiting anymore for people to come. Let's bring it to them. Let's share and really, share our lives and be real, and, share how the Lord, or how God is such a huge part of our life, and why we love him, and how our life has changed, So, you can go ahead and go first, Gonzalo, while I look for this, okay? that all right?
Yeah. So what we found out is that sometimes people don't like to leave the comforts of their own phone. Ah, you thought I was gonna say home, didn't you? Y'all too attached to this. The thing is a lot of us are making the phone our God. We're idolizing our phone. We're idolizing television, idolizing cars, things like that. I believe that we're all guilty of it, including myself. I'm always on my phone. I have a cousin in LA, and he calls people phone monsters because their eyes are always glued to their phone, even when they're in public places, being completely unpresent with the people in front of them, besides them, that they know.
No, what I meant is like, how did the Lord become a part of your life? How has He changed your life? When did you become a true Christian? Like you could say.
And I believe it was a true Christian. It was after my grandmother passed away, and one of her last wish was that all of her grandchildren get into church and to really, be in it. And so after that, my cousin Carlos brought me to a church, and him and I were going there, and then I started going there after, when he wasn't going, I was still going. He's still going. And so I was going, and I got saved and baptized. I got saved like in 2012, baptized in 2013. And it was just like a full circle. So I got baptized at. It was a lake where my late father and I and my mom used to go tubing at and go swimming in and stuff like that. So it became like, full circle to me. And it was like 20 years later, so it was very, very cool. And the Lord helped me conquer some addictions. And so I'm very thankful for that. And so He came into my life and very, changed things up for me in a positive way. Do bad things still happen? Yes. Is He to blame? No. Things happen. There's, humans involved.
And your life.
Mm-hmm.
He brought you back.
And, yeah, I was almost done for this summer. The Lord reached out and touched somebody, namely me, and I thank everyone for all the prayers.
Not E.T.
I thank everyone for all the prayers.
Mm-hmm.
I had found out shortly after that there were hundreds of people praying for me. Hundreds. I had no idea. And, after I got hit in that accident, I was out, completely out for 2 days. I was in the hospital for 10 days. And so the Lord has me here for a real reason. And He ain't done with me yet, and that's why I'm still here. And so I'm looking forward to doing more of these Peacemakers lives.
Okay. For me, I've already shared a little bit of my testimony before, how He's delivered me through so much, paralyzation, cancer, but recently more unhealthy relationships. I was in a lot of unhealthy relationships that were really deteriorating my mind, my spirit, my health, just with stress and everything. And honestly, I have to say I find myself more a true follower now than I had been before, because I was kind of still half-stepping, not wanting to give up my ways completely. I'm just like, oh no, it's too hard. I got to be perfect, and I'm not perfect. And, so I had this different view of how a Christian really should be. And then it was kind of refreshing for me to hear from a pastor that says, we're going to be sinners. You are a sinner. You can't change that. That is a part of us.
Right.
And even though we have this walk, and it may seem so, impossible, I feel that my heart and my way of life now is more fulfilled and more true than as where I was at before. I say 2 years ago or a year ago, you know, and my life is more, you know, I feel more at peace, you know, where I have a great husband that's supportive, and we, you know, is literally my best friend, and you know, it's just, you know, we're just so grateful to be, you know, together, and you know,
That's right.
and so the Lord has shown favor for us to be together, and we just want to continue and make the most of our journey, you know, living for Him and spreading the love and peace and getting others to, you know, enroll them into who He is, and that, you know, we want you to seek that for yourself, and to find some kind of fulfillment, however that may be for you, you know, but He is the truth, the way, and the light. So, you know, that's the only way.
Yep.
And so anyways, we want to thank everyone who is watching, and
thank you for tuning in.
And you know, we'll have more to share later. I'd like to share about some books that I've come across that really have helped me with learning how to deal with difficult people. Now I know we all can relate to that in life every day, but how do you do that being a Christian, you know, and not trying to lose your way, or you know, allowing your emotions, because we all do, we get worked up in our emotions and our feelings and all that.
Yeah, a lot of us let our emotions run the show.
Exactly.
And bad decisions can be made based off of emotions.
So later on, I'd like to share one of the books that really helped me to really break some boundaries and set some healthy boundaries in my friendships, in the workplace, and you know, just to, you know, because we have to protect ourselves, but not to the point where you see now everyone's like, oh, I stay away from others because, you know, it's too much drama, you know, but that is life. You're going to have that, and you can't run away from that, you know. You're going to have that in your life, in your immediate family, or with your loved ones. You can't avoid that, but you can prevent, and you can choose the way, how, what do I want to say? You can choose how you want to be in dealing with those things without getting out of character and getting out of, you know, getting stressed out and angered and all that.
Yep, and there's some people think because they're a Christian that it's okay to let people walk all over them, which is not the case. Like you're allowed to take a stand, and you know, we deal with what we want to deal with, and sometimes, I mean, we deal with things that we don't want to deal with too.
Right. Exactly.
But yes, it's okay to take a stand and set healthy boundaries.
Yes.
And what you're willing to, you got to establish what you're willing and not willing to deal with.
Exactly. Exactly. I had no idea. I didn't know anything about setting boundaries at all before, and that's why my life looked the way it did before, was because I didn't know. You know, it just seemed like so much drama in my life because I was afraid of taking truly that stand. And what is it going to look like if people aren't there? And what is it going to look like if I choose to follow the Lord? You know, am I going to have my friends still there? Am I going to have still family there? You're going to be judged either way.
Yeah.
That's what I finally realized, is doesn't matter. You're going to be judged either way, but you know, it's a choice. And so this is what I choose, and I'm glad that I chose this, and I have a partner that understands, you know, the love that I have for the Lord. And so that's our mission, is that we just want to, you know, get related to others and be support with one another. We don't have all the answers. We're learning too, but, you know. So anyways, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you around again.
Alrighty. Have a good night.
Bye.